We will be putting an RFQ out on the street for at least the design piece of this. But before we do, and that won't be until probably the latter part of April, maybe May. So we have some time. We really would like to hear back from you on what you believe would be an appropriate approach, given that we want smart design, we want affordability, and we want speed to market. We really and without a lot of errors, without a lot of delay. It's a very important building. We understand its complexity. It's very, very complex. And given that, as we are undertaking this building, remember that I am not going to stop continuing to bring airlines to this city. We will continue to do that, and so we'll have to find space for these airlines, and so that's going to add complexity to this project. So again, we're open. You tell us. You're the experts. I'm sure there are a lot of major construction companies here. As you start thinking about possibly partnering, what would you say is the recommendation that you would have to offer to us? And would it be a design build? Would it be design seem at risk, or would it be some other method that you might have? We're open to all of these avenues. I will say that for the minority women business, the design has been, you've been phenomenal. I want to really congratulate all of you on all of the professional services contracts that we have put out. You have responded. You have responded well. We ask you to please continue in that tradition. Provide opportunities to minority and women business. We encourage any form of participation, whether it's joint venture, whether it's subcontracting, however you want to do it. We just are looking for at least a 30% effort here at sharing the work that's to be done. And by the way, just so that you know, we're talking about probably $1 billion plus project here, just Houston Airport system. That's separate and aside from, because remember, one of the first slides that Jared showed you was Terminal B. That's United's work. United is handling that. And United, I'm sure, has a budget for that. But our piece, the work that Jared shared with you and with all the phasing, that's $1 billion plus. And so you can imagine what the design is. You all probably have already calculated in your heads. You have a very good idea of what you want to charge us. So we'll talk about that, I'm sure. But it's substantial. It's significant. And so we just ask you to please consider that. Is this real? That is to say, do we have the funding to make this happen? And let me just say to you that absolutely we do. We have retained earnings that we can start with. We have a couple $100 million in the bank, the piggy bank, that we can pull out and we can start with. We have a $150 million commercial paper program that we can tap. And then, of course, we can go into the capital markets, and not the bond market first, but the capital markets, and we can issue bond anticipation notes, probably what we will do after we tap out the commercial paper, but issue bond anticipation notes, a series of bond anticipation notes, and then toward the end of the project, we're looking at, if we start near 2014, we're probably looking at 2021, 2022 by the time that this is completed. And in that time frame, 2020, 2021, we can then go into the bond market, size the tranche for financing and funding appropriately, do it one time, and take out all of the notes and all of the commercial paper and roll the program forward. So we're real, this is serious. We have FAA grants, of course, and then we have PFC funding to use both on a pay-as-you-go basis, but also to leverage some of those PFCs in the way of generating additional bond capacity. Going forward, what do we need to do? Well, we've talked about meeting with you today. It's one of the first steps in the process. But then we have some work to do. As you remember, I started off by mentioning that we are having substantive discussions, dialogue with foreign flag carriers and United. We've come a long way. We still have some work to do. This, of course, has to be taken to council. The deal or the understanding that we reach with the United Airlines and the foreign flag carriers, and by the way, also domestic carriers in Terminal A, because everyone is affected. This project is so large, it draws so much capital that all airlines at Intercontinental would be affected, and so we're working with all of them. But this understanding would have to be taken to council for authorization. We're looking to make a presentation sometime toward the end of April and get on the council agenda sometime in the second week in May, assuming everything goes according to schedule. But then, of course, we then also at the same time are looking forward to move forward with the RFQ and the issuance of the contract for whether it's design or design build. And, of course, if it's design, then hopefully by the end of the year, not hopefully, by the end of the year, if we decide to do, let's say, design CM at risk, we would have a CM at risk on board before the end of the year, because I don't want to have too much time go by. However we do this, between the time that we bring on a design team and we bring on a construction team to make sure that the two are working together smoothly, collaborating, coordinating their efforts to make sure that, again, we minimize the number of change orders, we minimize the delays in getting this project built. Now, I think I've covered all the things that I want to share with you. And so at this point, if you have any questions, if you'd like to just have a discussion about what we're doing, why we're doing, where we're going, how we're getting there, the floor is open. Mr. Ray Gutierrez, his question is that once we make a decision about the method of procurement, we will put it in the form of an RFP, and we'll put it out on the street so everyone will know that that's the methodology.
Jimmy Bakta, you said that you were in talks with 2 airlines about bringing the A380. Besides Lufthansa, what were the other 2 airlines that are interested in bringing the A380?
We can't say that.
Oh, no.
We're not liberty to say that right now.
Let me just assure you that there is a reason we have 4 A380 wide-body gates at this facility. But I'd rather not say any more than that. I don't think that I really should step on the toes of an airline who may not at this point be prepared to make that commitment. Sir.
I'm David Eastwood, Geotech Engineering and Testing. We'd like to team up with people on this project. Is there any way we can get the attendance list?
Oh, absolutely. So
we're going to be setting up a website on our flight@houston.com, our website, and we're going to set up a page for the international terminal, and we can post it on that page.
But until we do, we'll just have it on our website.
Yeah.
Under what is it?
It's going to be on the Intercontinental.
Intercontinental.
Yeah, just give us a couple of days, and we'll post all of the sign-in lists.
Including
including the presentation.
The presentation we have here
put
today.
The presentation up there too.
Anyone else? Right?
When is your anticipated groundbreaking in your mind? What's your thoughts?
Well, when we say groundbreaking, I would hope that depending on the procurement method, and whatever procurement method, that hopefully we would have some construction packages ready to be taken to council and actually initiated July, August, September of next year. Yes?
With procurement method, do you see yourself going procurement method first and then making a design team decision, or vice versa, just reverse that? Or you blend them together, you get a third alternative? Are all 3 of those options on the table at this point in time?
So say what the third would be?
Third one would be contractor and design team come together as a single entity.
Well, that's design build.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, that's on the table.
All 3 of them.
Yes. Anyone else? There's got to be more questions.
I'll stop asking.
Sir?
What about a P3?
So tell us a little bit more about a P3. How would that work?
Where someone would come in and put up financing and select contractor and design team come in and go. Would that be a viable option?
If you could elaborate on it in a white paper so that we could better understand it in detail, we would certainly take a look at it and consider it. For example, So along the P3 line, at one point we were thinking about the possibility of design, build, fund, and manage. That is the maintenance. Of course, the operations and the commercial aspects the Houston Airport system would always retain for the purpose of competition and non-airline revenue generation, but the rest might be open. Anyone else? Ma'am?
Jane, I'm Turner.
You anticipated a number of phases, but were you thinking of many packages or?
We're not the experts in that. We're looking to you to tell us what's the best way of packaging and how to assemble this building. Remember, there are three parts to this, and we've only really at this point been talking about the terminal. And some of the things, and Jared may want to elaborate on this, but one of the reasons that we're going to rebuild Terminal D is we're going to set it back 40 feet. We're going to provide for additional curb lanes in front of the terminal building, I think 2 lanes. And so there are going to be roadways, the front end of the building, there are going to be roadways improvements that we're going to make. There's going to be the terminal itself, and then there's going to be apron work that's going to be done. The fuel hydrant system, all of the infrastructure, utilities, pavement that's going to have to be reconstructed, and some new pavement that's going to have to be poured. All of those things are part of this project. How we do that, you're the experts in that. You advise us. You tell us how we should do it.
So how much apron work / well, that's us again, trying to identify those issues, right?
Right.
Okay.
Anyone else? Yes.
What's the impact on the APM?
None. That's one of the beauties of this project. The APM stays in place, centrally located between the terminal building or the new terminal building itself and the Federal Inspection Services processor building. So it is not impacted at all. As a matter of fact, the face of this new terminal will actually connect with the connectors to the FIS past the people mover system. That was one of the concerns. If you saw the earlier rendering or plan concept of the new East International Terminal, that was exactly one of the problems that the airlines expressed, both the foreign flag and those that operate here as a hub, was the connect time and the risk of missing connections. Because clearly if you've got a new terminal that is completely separate by maybe a tenth to a quarter of a mile from the existing terminal complex, and it's not connected by a people mover system, then obviously the only way that you can move passengers between the two is a busing operation. And two problems with it. Number one, the reliability of those buses, and number two, the level of customer service. If we're going to spend this kind of money on a terminal building, we want to make sure that the level of customer service is always retained at a high level. People say, well, buses are absolutely just fine. They work all over the world today. And it's true. But there's a perception about buses, both from the, getting down to them at grade level, taking elevators or taking escalators down, walking out into the elements, even if there's cover. Just the time that you're out there, the exposure to the elements, whether it's heat or humidity or cold or rain, and then just making your way through all of the traffic that you find on the air side. Remember, because you've got to remain air side on this to preserve the ability to remain in the secure part of the airport. And all of that just adds time. We ran models. We definitely thought it could be done. But then there were a lot of variables in it, and a lot of things could go wrong. A people mover system that we have, it's been built to handle all these passengers. Why not find a solution that makes use of it? And we think we've done that here.